Nothing defines New England bucolic splendor quite like Vermont's Champlain Valley. Lining the shoreline of 125-mile-long Lake Champlain, the valley is sandwiched between the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York to the west and the tall spine of Vermont's Green Mountains to the east. Hey friends, welcome back to Grand Adventure. I'm your host, Mark Guido, and this week we are exploring Vermont's beautiful Lake Champlain Valley. So come along. This episode of Grand Adventure is sponsored by eTrailer.com, where you'll find thousands of products for RVing, towing, camping, outdoor recreation, vehicles, boating, and more. Use the link down below in the video description to shop eTrailer with Grand Adventure. This is a land of dairy farms and apple orchards. It's the most productive agricultural region of Vermont. Nevertheless, this is also the most heavily populated region in Vermont, which says something about how rural the rest of the state is. For our visit to Vermont's Champlain Valley, timed over the Memorial Day weekend, we're camping at Button Bay State Park. This tiny hole in the trees was one of my favorite launches for windsurfing back in the 1990s, so I longed to return here with the RV during our Grand Adventure Northeastern Tour 2024. Button Bay was so named by the British due to unique stones still found along the shoreline here that resemble buttons. Clay settled in the bay around stands of reeds. When the reeds died, they left small clay stones with a perfectly round hole in the middle. Once operating as a farm, the 253-acre Button Bay State Park sits atop a bluff overlooking Button Bay. The park was established following a massive Girl Scout senior roundup here in 1962, when this field hosted a national gathering of some 9,000 Girl Scouts. Today's state park is centered around 73 grassy dry campsites, including 13 lean-tos and 4 cabins, flush toilets, hot showers, and a dump station. Overnight campsites cost $20 for Vermont residents, $28 for non-residents, and a $2 fee per pet applies. Those sites labeled as prime campsites also come with a $2 surcharge. The park's day use fee is waived for overnight campers. The park also features hiking trails, a nature center, and a swimming pool, the only one in a Vermont state park. Throughout our Northeastern Tour 2024, we're enjoying the opportunity to meet with friends all along the way. We got to spend an evening with our friend Abby at their beautiful country home in Charlotte. We last camped with Abby at Whitney Pocket in Nevada in our episode 307, filmed in May of 2023. Our friends Ira and Jackie also joined us at our campsite for some adult beverages and snacks ahead of their relocation from Vermont to Utah 3 days later. Just to the north of Button Bay State Park sits the Basin Harbor Club. Platt Rogers bought 10 acres from a few landowners on the north point of Basin Harbor in 1790 and started to build the first permanent residence at Basin Harbor. A shipyard here constructed several of the boats that were later used by the federal government on Lake Champlain during the War of 1812. In 1882, Ardelia Beach purchased the inn and surrounding property, and her family has guided the Basin Harbor Inn to the present day. The resort's grounds include the Lake Champlain Maritime Museum. Also on the resort property, the cozy Red Mill restaurant lines the resort's grass airstrip. Just to the south of our campground lies Arnold Bay. Most of us remember Benedict Arnold from our elementary school history classes as a traitor during the American Revolutionary War. But prior to switching sides, Arnold accomplished much for the Patriots' cause. Following his Navy's defeat on Lake Champlain in the Battle of Valcour Island in 1776, Arnold scuttled and burned his remaining fleet here to avoid surrender to the British. Following a brief message from our video sponsor, we'll explore the towns, the covered bridges, and some more local history of Vermont Champlain Valley. So stay tuned. Whether you need products for your RV, boat, trailer, vehicle, hunting and fishing, off-roading, and more, our video sponsor eTrailer has you covered. Best of all, you'll find over 100 US-based enthusiast customer service reps ready to help via phone, chat, or email, both before and after the sale. These folks have used themselves the products that you're shopping for, and you won't find a more knowledgeable team anywhere to help you with your outdoor project. Click the link down below in the video description to shop eTrailer.com with Grand Adventure. The Champlain Valley is dotted with many small towns and villages straight out of a Norman Rockwell painting. The nearest town of reasonable size to our campground is Vergennes, population around 2,500. Vergennes was settled in 1766 by Donald McIntosh, surrounding Otter Creek Falls, just a few miles inland from the Lake Champlain shoreline. The waterfalls provided power for mills and factories, and the close access to the Lake Champlain waterway was ideal for transportation both north and south. It was established as a city in 1788, the only one in Vermont not to have been first chartered as a town or independent village. Even today, it carries the tagline, Vermont's smallest city. South of Vergennes, Middlebury's year-round population numbers just over 9,000, but its population swells thanks to the presence of Middlebury College, one of the nation's elite liberal arts colleges that was founded here in 1800. Chartered in 1761, Middlebury's development also prospered thanks to waterfalls along Otter Creek to power mills. Today, Middlebury serves as the commercial and business center for Addison County, and downtown hosts a 3-screen movie theater, the post office, 2 historic inns, as well as many shops and restaurants. Turning to the north, Shelburne is a town located along the shores of Lake Champlain, chartered in 1763. From the beginning, Shelburne's economy was based on farming. In 1811, a few merino sheep imported from Spain led to an upsurge in sheep raising. Orchards and fruit growing became a major source of income for the farmers, with nearly 18,000 fruit trees in 1880. The Lake Champlain Transportation Company established its shipyard at Shelburne Harbor and launched its first steamboat, the General Greene, in 1825, which was followed by 10 others. Today, the town's Shelburne Museum is a museum of art, design, and Americana, with over 150,000 works exhibited in 39 exhibition buildings, 25 of which are historic and were relocated to the museum grounds. Lining the shoreline of Lake Champlain, 45 miles south of the Canadian border, Burlington is the most populous city in Vermont, with a year-round population of roughly 45,000 residents. Organized in 1785, it is the least populous city in the 50 U.S. states to be the most populous city in its state. A regional college town, Burlington is home to the University of Vermont and Champlain College. The city of Burlington owns Vermont's largest airport, located in neighboring South Burlington. Burlington's position on Lake Champlain helped it develop into a port of entry and center for trade, particularly after completion of the Champlain Canal in 1823, the Erie Canal in 1825, and the Chambly Canal in 1843. Wharves allowed steamboats to connect freight and passengers with the Rutland and Burlington Railroad and the Vermont Central Railroad. Burlington became a bustling lumbering and manufacturing center, for some time the third largest lumber market in the world, and was incorporated as a city in 1865. Vermont is famed for its numerous covered bridges dotting the countryside. So let's have some fun and find a number of those in close proximity to our campsite. These bridges were covered to protect the wooden structural members from the weather. Uncovered wooden bridges typically have a lifespan of only 20 years because of the effects of rain and sun, but a covered bridge can last over 100 years. The relatively small number of surviving bridges is due to deliberate replacement, neglect, and the high cost of restoration. Yet, Vermont remains home to more than 100 of these examples of transportation infrastructure of yesteryear. The Halpin Covered Bridge, also called the High Covered Bridge, is a wooden covered bridge carrying Halpin Bridge Road high across the muddy branch of the New Haven River in Middlebury, Vermont. The bridge stands 41 feet above the water, making it the highest covered bridge in the state. The Pulp Mill Covered Bridge, also called the Paper Mill Covered Bridge, is a wooden covered bridge that crosses Otter Creek between Middlebury and Weybridge, Vermont on Seymour Street. First constructed around 1820, this is one of only 7 double-barreled covered bridges in the country and is the oldest covered bridge in Vermont and one of the oldest in the nation. Quinlan's Covered Bridge, also called the Lower Covered Bridge and Sherman Covered Bridge, crosses Lewis Creek in Charlotte, Vermont on Moncton Road. It is one of 9 19th century Burr Arch covered bridges left in the state. Following a quick ad break, we'll bring you out onto the beautiful waters of Lake Champlain to explore some more unique local Vermont history. So stay tuned. For the very first time in our 2024 travel season, it's not raining on a Saturday. It may not be as exhilarating as it was windsurfing here back in the day, but we'll get on the water at Button Bay once again, this time in a kayak. First stop, I'm going to round the northern end of Ship Point, which thanks to today's high water level is actually an island. There are several beautiful pleasure craft sitting at an anchorage between Ship Point and Button Island, just off the tip of Button Point and part of the state park. The 1.5 acre Button Island has some things to explore, so I'm going to land the kayak here at what clearly served at one time as a boat harbor. Button Island was acquired by Samuel P. Avery Jr., the son of an influential New York City art dealer, in 1891. Avery first built a simple dwelling on the island that same year, a larger house in 1897, and various projects to improve the property over the years, including a windmill, pump house, ice house, large porch, retaining walls, docks, and a boathouse. Remains from many of these structures can still be found on this tiny island. The family created at least 2 rustic arbors here as well. In 1965, Avery's heirs sold the island and 13 acres on the mainland known as Button Point to the state of Vermont as part of Button Bay State Park. After a long winter without kayaking, I'm out of practice. I've forgotten my phone and the chest harness for my GoPro. Astute viewers will also notice that I've left Button Island with my paddle upside down. The sad part is, I didn't even notice. I'm going to head out into the main body of the lake and work my way north. Here's hoping that they've designed that deck support well. There, I've finally noticed the paddle problem. I've made my way as far north as Basin Harbor, so I get to enjoy the views of this beautiful resort from the water this time. We hope that you've enjoyed this quick visit to Vermont's Lake Champlain Valley with us. If you liked this episode, it is extremely important to us that you give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comments section, where we always love to hear from you after each grand adventure, which we premiere every Wednesday evening. We're going to get packed up here and we're heading north across the border into Canada. Next Wednesday, we will bring you to Montreal. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer, now is the time for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure. We'd also be truly honored if you share the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. So until next Wednesday, from Montreal, please remember life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.